Hey everyone, my name is Michael English and I am with Charted Consulting, where we specialize in streamlining law firms through leveraging of technology. So that can be anywhere from optimizing your CRM, practice management software, setting up automations and integrations, making sure everything's talking to each other, and lining up SOPs for how to utilize everything that we've put together for you. So here I'm going to do something a little bit different where I am actually going to walk you through kind of a basic setup of what a lead intake process can look like. So from this point, this is going to be from the perspective of maybe somebody is calling into your firm to set up a consultation. And then we're going to basically just walk you through, how those automations can look. So the first thing that we are going to want to design is we're going to want to design a booking form that your team can use. So this is where when somebody calls into your firm, we can open up this form and get their consultation scheduled. So we can create new booking form, but here I'm just going to go ahead and edit the one that I already just created. I've set it up with the initial consultation, who the host is going to be, and then I can set up any questions that I want to ask in addition to this. So, I will want to, of course, grab their last name, and then perhaps even their phone number. And then we can also search the fields over here. And so all these fields are going to be connected to the lead that is created out of this. And so all this information will be filled in into the lead itself. So over here we also have Matter custom fields. So this is where these are all the fields that you create in Lawmatics, and you can even create new ones right here as well. So if I wanted to add a field, let's say, I don't know, where are you moving? Just something generic. This would of course be a text field, but we also have a bunch of different options here. So once we add that, it'll show up on our list and we can drag and drop it. So we can drag and drop all these questions here. Okay. So in addition to this, we can even add relationship blocks. So right here, I can create a new one and then connect it with the relationship type. And so here I already have one for spouse, if there is one. Okay. And so that would be a good question to add over here. Are you married? And then I would want it to be here. Pick list. And so see, it pops up over here. Are you married? Okay. And then I would add over here for spouse, and then conditional logic. Are you married is true. Okay. So basically, if we check off this box, this question will appear. And then that person will be added as an additional contact to the matter, or to the lead. And then we can save our form. Okay. Now, when somebody books through this booking form, I'm going to want an automation to follow up on it. So typically, a lot of people will want a short questionnaire to perhaps go out to the person, to the lead. So if we new consultation scheduled. Okay. Typically, you're going to want this to stay the same with matters. And then status is all PNCs. You also have the option for all hired or all lost. But since we're just dealing with PNCs, this is one we're going to select. And then we'll hit create. So up here, you're going to click when this happens. We're going to do add condition. And so the condition is what we set to fire off the automation. Now I'm going to select appointment created. We also have options for canceled or no show. Pretty cool. And then appointment type initial consultation. Okay. Now that that's done, we have our conditions set. We can add what we want to happen. So perhaps I want to send an email to the client. I can either select from my list here of different emails, or I can go over here to the plus button and create a new one. And then from there, it'll be saved into your email templates. So there's that option. And then there's the option of being able to send a form. So if you want to send an intake form to the client after they set up their consultation, you can do that here. You can select who to send it from. And then we can just type in what the message is that we want to plug in here. We also have the option to use an email template, which is the template that we assign to the form itself. So let's back out and show you that. So it does automatically save for you, so we can go back to it. So if I go back over to Docs and Forms and Custom Forms, I'll find my form here, initial consultation information. And then I click these three dots and I select email. And I select which email, where I type in the email here. Thank you for scheduling. And then please fill out this form. If you don't know what to say, like myself, you can always have their AI feature help you write it. So then I'm going to add the custom form link. Save it. Now I can go back to my automation. And then I will select send form. And now I get to use that option, use email template. Okay. Now, next, we are going to want to back out of this and create the next automation. So something that I like to use is I like to create a form for my consultations. And so I usually do it consult notes. And so this is all the information that I want to gather during the consultation. So I always reaffirm first name, last name, and then maybe get their address, but we won't add all that. But now maybe I'll want to add in a field for, I'll create a new field. Cost of matter. So this is what I would fill out to plug in how much I'm going to charge this person. And I'll get to why that's important. And then maybe I want to also add stage. So what's great about this is that I can essentially, once I'm done with the consult, I can select what stage I want them dropped in to trigger the next proceeding automation. Okay. So now we're going to have a few other automations to put together. Let's say after our consult, this person's undecided. They're not sure if they want to move forward. So we'll create an automation, add a new condition, add new. We're going to select match on fields, type in stage is equal to undecided. So when we drop that person into the undecided stage, we're going to trigger a sequence of follow-ups. So of course you don't want to follow up with them the same day necessarily, but we're going to add this delay. Say after 3 days, we're going to send them a follow-up email. So I'm just going to select one of these. Okay. And then we can add another one. Another 3 days. Now, the day, this is something important to remember. So the delay days is based off of the last action. So it's not from the date that it was fired off. Just this first one is. So it fires off, and after 3 days, it's going to send an email. And then we're going to have 3 days again thereafter. We're going to send them another follow-up email. And then we can keep this going as long as we want. Okay? So that is our undecided follow-up. Next, we are going to want to say, okay, well, what if this person wants to book, wants to go ahead and engage with us? Great. Well, now we are going to go ahead and create an automation to send out an e-sign request. So again, we're going to do add new, match on field, stage, engagement sent. And we're using sent because as soon as they get dropped in here, the person will receive a signature request for their engagement agreement. So let me check to see if I've got one in here. I don't know what those look like, so I will build one. So we'll come back to this. I'm going to name it send engagement. So I'm going to go over to my document templates. Now I have several options to choose from for setting one of these up. I can upload a Word doc. PDF, or I can build it in Lawmatics, which is my favorite way to do it because you have a ton of, it's a lot easier to build in all the fields, logic conditioning, and everything that you want in here. All right, so we call it engagement letter. All right, now to type this out, I go over to my little pencil button, and then it opens up this screen where I can add all the information I need here. Hello. And then we can add in fields, person. Here is your engagement letter. You will also receive an invoice for, and then we're going to add in that field we created to plug that information in. Now, if you have certain language that you want going into this document for a specific situation, so you're going to have, you could build out an engagement letter that is in Lawmatics that's representative of all your different practice areas. And you can just have it select the type of what language goes into it based off of practice area or any field. So if I wanted to add in another text area here, okay, and I wanted to add in this conditional logic where I say practice area is equal to personal injury or whatever it is. I want this additional language plugged in here, okay? Now I want to also set up my signers. I'm just going to add client. And then I have to go back into my edit, sign here, signature fields, client signature, and then add a date. All right, good enough. Go back to my automation, send engagement. And then I want to send an email. Or no, I'm sorry. Go to request signature. And then I can add my engagement letter here. Skip that, skip that. And then the signers, we added one of the signers as the client, and so we need to specify who this is. We're going to use automation target, okay? And then we can use standard email, which is where we can type it in here. Or we can assign or we can assign an email template just like we do on the custom forms. So you go to your document templates, go to your engagement letter, hit these three little dots, document email, okay? Simple as that. So now let's go back to our automation, send engagement. Now it might also be important to remind you or if maybe you're not, like if you're the attorney and you want to task your paralegal or assistant to send out the invoice as well, we can add a task in here to make sure that that gets it, make sure that happens. And so we can assign that to whoever, like assign staff or whoever we want that to go to. Okay. Now we also want to make sure that we are tracking when both of these things are actually completed. So not the task, but I mean like the signature being completed and an invoice being paid. Okay. So now we're going to create a new automation. And this is where our dual triggers happen. So we're going to add several new conditions here. First set is sign a document. And then invoice paid. And then you can have different invoice types in here. But you'll select which one so that Lawmatics knows how to which invoice being paid is going to fire off this automation. So what this says is that now this document's been signed and invoice paid, this invoice has been paid. We're going to fire off the automation. Okay. Now, if you had different engagement letters you want to work from, when different invoices, so like for different types of practice that are connected to different practice areas, you can add an additional condition here too. So where we say this engagement letter and this will. Okay. So now we have if this happens or if this happens. If these two conditions are met or if these two conditions are met. Well, either one of those will set off the automation. Now it's important when you're setting up two separate conditions in one automation, you cannot build them on top of the other one. You have to back out. Once you set the first set of conditions set, you have to back out and add a new condition. That's what got me here to adding this. Now, we are going to want to, let's see, change attributes. So this is where you can update the fields in Lawmatics. But for this instance, we're going to go look for status. And it's going to update them to hired. And then we're going to add another one of those change attributes. To update the stage. And this is where you can move them into a new pipeline. Okay. So I don't have a practice area pipeline or anything like that. But for the sake of this, like I can just go over here and select that like this is where they're going to show as hired and then drop them into the actual pipeline that they need to belong. So that could be an estate planning pipeline, a probate pipeline, which could then in turn fire off the next set of automations. Okay. All right. And then we'll of course title it. And engagement completed. Okay. And that's it. So now we have a full set of automations. Again, this is very basic. You can of course take this a lot deeper. I can add in logic conditioning, where I can do, if I'm working from multiple practice areas, I can add that in for each different practice area. And then we have exit rules, like how to stop an automation once a certain condition is met, which is great actually for the follow-up sequence. So I could say, we want to make sure that we stop this follow-up sequence by adding this exit condition here. So again, let me show you that. Click that kind of fast. So you're going to want to go to the bottom of the screen here. So basically saying all this is going to happen until this happens. Add new. Stage is equal to or actually you'd probably want something is not equal to undecided. So if they are no longer in this stage, this email sequence will stop. Okay. All right, so that's kind of the basics of building out some, fairly standard automations, from tracking from when the new console is scheduled to their full engagement. Again, we can take this a lot deeper, but this is just, to get you through the basics to kind of get you going and have a general understanding of how Lawmatics automations work. Thanks a lot. And if you ever want to reach out to me, I'm always answering questions for free to people that just are utilizing Lawmatics and just need a little bit of direction or some suggestions. Just reach out to me at michael@streamlinemylawfirm.com. You can also go to my website, www.streamlinemylawfirm.com.